Hi, I'm Deanna Carlson-Zink, CEO of the UND Alumni Association and Foundation. Come with me on a little walk through the heart of campus on the newly created Grand Pedestrian Walkway. I want to show you a few of the projects that have transformed UND. The new Memorial Union was dedicated during Homecoming 2021. The building has exceeded all expectations as the heart and soul of the campus experience, all thanks to the students who voted in 2018 to build this facility with their fees. If the Union is the heart of campus, the library is the brain. The Chester Fritz Library has undergone major renovations, which has transformed the entryway and provided for modern studying areas and collaborative spaces. Years in the making, the Nistler College of Business and Public Administration building is finally open for students on the corner of Centennial and University Avenue. This building is a true gem and really sets the college apart from its peer institutions. We are so happy for our students and so grateful to Werner and Colleen Nistler and all the donors who made this building a reality. The demolition of West and McVeigh has led to construction this summer west of the Coulee. Students will be moving into the new McVeigh in November. So we end our walk here in front of the Goretzky Alumni Center, which, while it still looks brand new, has actually been our home on campus for the past 10 years. In our first 9 years in this building, we have raised $452 million to benefit UND students. You are about to find out if our latest fiscal numbers will put us over the $500 million mark.
Heels today, I can't figure that out. But that is a beautiful walk through campus. It showcases some of the best examples of what we can accomplish when we are all working together on one common goal, and that's to enhance the student experience. Each one was funded differently from the next. The Memorial Union was paid for by students. The library renovation used a long-standing endowment fund. The Nistler through private dollars and a partnership with the state. And the residence halls across the street, that's a different kind of public-private partnership. And that beautiful walkway that I took through the heart of campus, it's part of a larger beautification effort by the university. And this building celebrating its 10th anniversary was entirely funded with private donations. Through a variety of funding mechanisms, we are getting things done and accomplished on the UND campus. Welcome to the State of the UND Alumni Association and Foundation address. Thank you so much for being here this evening, and a special welcome to our guests who are joining us via live stream tonight. A special thanks to today's event sponsors, the City of Grand Forks. I believe Todd is here. Todd, thank you so much. The city. The University of North Dakota. President Armacost and Kathy, I believe, are here. Going to be, oh, right in front. Okay, I'm looking back there. You're usually coming in late, so. Just kidding, just kidding. And Happy Harry's Bottle Shops. I believe Hal and Kathy are here as well. Thank you so much for being sponsors for this. As a fundraising organization, it is no secret that we do trumpet the arrival of those large multi-million-dollar gifts from our extremely generous and philanthropic alumni and friends. These lead gifts can make all the difference, as they not only provide the needed funding at the front end of projects, but they inspire others to give as well. As an example, the lead $20 million gift provided by Werner and Colleen Nissler in 2019 to build a new building for the College of Business and Public Administration. Their donation lit a fire for a project that had long been a dream and made it a reality. Not only did that gift convince the North Dakota legislature to kick in $20 million, but it also inspired hundreds of alumni and friends to back the project with their donations. But while such gifts are transformational, they are also, by their very nature, rare. Because of the collective might of many, we are able to offer support for facilities, for faculty, and for scholarship. As a perfect example of the collective we, this past fiscal year, we did not have any of those blockbuster 8-figure gifts. And yet, we posted our second highest fundraising total ever. You heard that correctly. In the fiscal year that ended June 30th of this year, we received $72.4 million in commitments and gifts to the University of North Dakota. Thank you. That is the second highest total ever for this organization, only trailing the $80.1 million that we raised just 3 years ago. And this was accomplished with a multitude of gifts, ranging from $5 to our largest fiscal year gift of $3.5 million. Let's take a closer look at the cohort of givers this year. 36% of our commitments came from within the state of North Dakota. 16% came from Minnesota, and the other 48% came from the rest of the country and the world. And the ranks of the collective we is growing. 8,855 donors made gifts this last fiscal year, 25% more than the previous fiscal year. That means the good that we can do for UND students will grow as well. Also great news, we had nearly 1,300 first-time donors. That was a 45% increase over the previous year. I want to highlight one of those first-time donors. Dr. Gopal Das is a former faculty member within the School of Medicine and Health Sciences who made a gift to fund an endowed chair within the school. Gopal grew up poor in India and suffered from polio as a child. He became a cardiologist and saved to bring members of his family to America. In October, the family members held a small signing ceremony in Las Vegas. They learned that their generous brother was naming the chair after them, Wadhwani Family Endowed Chair of Translational Research. We'll hear from him soon. He's coming all the way from Vegas.
I'll be signing along with Todd on behalf of the family.
What an endowed chair helps us do is to attract the very best educators and researchers so we can attract them to North Dakota, and then keep them in North Dakota. So that's what this phenomenal gift will help us do, is to get the very best and keep the very best person, and that will augment our education and our discovery mission.
You have reached yet another milestone. Despite all your handicaps, while us healthy people, we could not hold a candle to you. So, on behalf of the family, let's say we are honored.
Thank you so much. This is phenomenal. It's generous, but it's thoughtful, it's caring, and it's obvious from seeing all of you that the caring is all around the table. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Doss, for your generosity in establishing this endowed chair position in the School of Medicine and Health Sciences. The Wadhwani Family Endowed Chair of Translational Research was one of 10 endowed faculty positions created during this past fiscal year. Those 10 new endowments led to a 22% increase in the number of endowed faculty positions at UND. As I mentioned earlier, fiscal year 22 was our second best fundraising year ever. In fact, we've had 3 of our highest fundraising totals in just the past 4 fiscal years. From fiscal year 2019 to this year, our alumni and friends have donated $285 million. In those 4 years, we have averaged more than 8,000 donors at each year. As you can see, the collective we is a large group of do-gooders who together dramatically impact UND students, faculty, and staff. I want to highlight something I said earlier about this building, the Gretzky Alumni Center. This fall will mark 10 years since we had the grand opening for this building at Homecoming 2012. The Gretzky has been such a catalyst for our fundraising efforts. It brought us together under one roof, allowed us to expand our team, and to grow as professionals to be one of the most successful fundraising organizations in the state of North Dakota. We owe such a debt of gratitude to Ben and Dorothy Gretzky, Glenn and Janice Gransberg, and the hundreds of other donors who gave to create this signature home for alumni on our campus. With the fundraising added from fiscal year 2022, we have now raised more than $500 million over the past decade while working out of this building. It is worthy of applause. One other fun fact about the Gretzky Alumni Center. As many of you know, UND Admissions has been with us from the beginning on the first floor of this building. Over the past decade, Admissions has given tours to around 40,000 potential UND students, including guests. That means 120,000 individuals have taken tours of UND that started in this building. In addition, thousands and thousands of people have attended hundreds of events in this space over the past decade. This building has truly been game-changing for the UND Alumni Association and Foundation and for the University of North Dakota. Thank you to all who made the Gretzky Alumni Center a reality a decade ago. While we have, thank you. While we have a lot to be thankful for, there was a small gray cloud in what was otherwise an outstanding year for our organization. Like every investor, we watched with concern as the stock markets dipped. And just like many of you, our portfolio, known as our endowment fund, was down year to year. Our rate of return this year was a minus 5.9%. On a positive note, however, we did outperform the S&P 500, which was down we went more than 12%. Despite the downturn, our endowment remains at a near record level of $352.1 million, up more than 25% from 5 years ago. The endowment fund is so important to our ongoing efforts. Each year, a percentage of the endowment is utilized to fund commitments for scholarships, program and faculty support, and priority needs across campus. This year, the endowment payout was $11.1 million, the highest payout of the last 5 years. In fact, in the last 5 years, impact to UND from the endowment fund was nearly $50 million. So what's in play for this new fiscal year that started July 1? Well, we continue to fundraise for Phase 2 of the Pollard Athletic Center, and we hope to have an announcement soon that we have secured enough private funding to move forward. Phase 1, which includes an indoor track and practice football field, has been a game changer for UND athletics. This new addition will include a top-of-the-line weight room, locker rooms, and more student-athlete spaces. In 2 days, there will be a groundbreaking ceremony for the Memorial Village project. This is another example of a P3, a public-private partnership. The developer is building a 5-story structure that will have office space for UND athletic administration and coaches' offices, as well as market-rate apartments on the top floors. You're invited to join us at that groundbreaking ceremony on Thursday at 1 p.m. And we are working with the state of North Dakota on funding a renovation for Merrifield Hall. Just about every student for the past almost 100 years has passed through this iconic building. Now it is in need of renovation. The $79 million plan is to modernize Merrifield as well as Twomley Hall, while also preserving the historic and architectural charms of Merrifield. For every dollar given philanthropically, the state will kick in $2, up to $50 million. While new and renovated buildings are important to the student experience, our focus again this fiscal year is the holistic support of students through scholarships, programming, and faculty assistance. One of those support programs has proven to be a lifeline for some of our students on the verge of having to give up their dreams of a college education. In the beginning of the pandemic, we put a focus on raising funds for the UND Angel Fund, which was put in place to help students who had an emergency financial need. Requests for the Angel Fund exploded in 2020. Over the past 2 years, more than $300,000 has been awarded to students with gifts coming from more than 500 donors. While the pandemic is fading, the need for help is not. I'd like to call on Cassie Gerhardt, Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, to join me on stage now to talk just a little bit more about this important program. Hi, Cassie. Hi, thanks for being here today.
Happy to be here.
So you are seeing these requests coming in on a weekly, maybe sometimes even a daily basis, and some of them are just heart-wrenching. What is the most impactful story you've heard in dealing with the UND Angel Fund?
All the stories are impactful. I've received 15 requests. I just looked before I came over. I've received 15 requests for support since Saturday morning when students started moving in, and many of those from our returning students. Everyone is impactful because everyone is about a student in crisis who's experiencing stressors beyond the normal college stressors. It's not about, can I find my classes? Do I have an assignment due? It's about something else. And so the ones about compounding crises really stand out. It's the students who are dealing with medical emergencies, dental bills, and things like that. So they're dealing not only with class stressors, they're dealing with this medical emergency, in many cases, pain, discomfort, and the bill of how to pay it. They're dealing with the loss of a family member and mourning and grieving that loss, and then how do they fund gas to be able to make return trips home? So one that stands out the most this summer is a student who needs some pretty expensive medical treatments, just didn't have the resources to do it, takes a shot that's about $800, and looked to find a lesser or alternative medicine. That medicine caused some reactions, and the student quit taking it. The student never talked about not funding their tuition and educational dreams. It was about putting their health on the line in order to be able to continue being a student. That's one that stands out. They're willing to risk health in some cases to continue their educational goals.
It is such a dream to get a degree from UND. And because of the strong need out there, the fund has been depleted several times, but our donors have stepped up to help out. What is your dream for the Angel Fund? My dream for the Angel Fund is probably the same dream you have for scholarships.
My hope is that we can help every student in need in the same way that I know you and your team dream of being able to provide scholarships to every student who has the goal of attending the University of North Dakota. My goal is that we would have enough resources to help students in their times of need as they try to pursue those dreams. They're trying to be a UND alum in the same way that I had that dream in the early 1990s. So my goal is we can get them across the commencement finish line.
It's a great goal. You are at the intersection of student need and donor intent. What have you heard from donors who have supported the UND Angel Fund?
There's 3 things I've heard. I'm happy to help, I wish I could do more, and then I often hear the stories about their own times of crisis in college, that they reflect back. Now they've got some privilege, some means to help, but I've heard stories of what it meant to get to the end of the month and living on elbow macaroni and stewed tomatoes until the next check came in. So I think it has reminded many of our alumni what it meant to, again, be a college student, to have those times of financial crisis, and remembering that, again, these students are trying to achieve the same dreams that they were able to realize in graduating from the university.
That's wonderful. So Cassie, thank you for sharing the need
Thanks.
and the impact of the UND Angel Fund. One student who recently found themselves in an emergency situation turned to the Angel Fund for help. She wanted to share her story to encourage donors and other students in need.
My name is Kelsey Dukart. I'm from Dickinson, but I attended UND online, and I graduated in August 2022 with my social work degree. So I reached out to the Angel Fund because I'm a single mom of 2 young boys whose dad just recently moved out. I was in my last semester of college and had money that I needed to pay out of pocket, and then that needed to be paid in order to graduate. At first, I got an email that said they didn't have the funds at the time, so I did have to pay out of pocket. And then a couple weeks later, I got an email saying that they were able to pay $750 of my funds, and I was more than grateful. That took a huge burden off of me. Hello. Hello. I would say I appreciate it more than they would ever know. And just letting them know that a little bit goes a long way. It might seem like a little bit to them, but to me, it was huge and life-changing. It made it so that I was able to graduate on time, which is huge for me.
We have on students every day at the University of North Dakota. That is why our alumni become so passionate about supporting their alma mater. The artist Pablo Picasso is quoted as saying, "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away." We work every day to help our donors find their philanthropic purpose, to become part of the collective we that gets the job done for UND and its students. We Do is a message I'll be carrying forward into this new school year, as it's a response to a list of accomplishments, as in, who leads global autonomous technology? We do. Who educates the most Indigenous doctors in the United States? We do. Who ranks in the top 5% of business schools worldwide? We do. It's also a call to action. We don't just talk, we do. The institution and its students are also part of this collective we. We lead, we create, we are leaders in action. Looking around the room and having seen the RSVP list for the live stream guests, I know that so many of you attending today are part of this movement. You have given of your time, your talent, and your treasure. So I ask those sitting down to join the ones in the back who are standing up. Stand up if you're able. Stand up if you're able. Because we're all part of this collective we. So I'm going to ask you to do something that may sound a little silly or corny, but it's going to feel so good to be a part of it. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I want you to respond each time with we do. Who drives the success of the University of North Dakota? We do. Who helps students achieve their dreams? We do. Who loves the University of North Dakota? We do. We will succeed together. We will make a difference in the lives of UND students. We are proud to be part of the UND family. Thank you so much for coming today, and enjoy your evening.